The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. Some interesting stories today. We did not even get a chance to report on this horrible attack that took place in Egypt late last week. But there is a very strange dynamic developing, or maybe not strange, but surprising or less common dynamic, where different extremist groups are distancing themselves from the attack because it's almost like it was too obscene and depraved of an attack even for them. There's a lot of different groups. So when we talk about Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State or whatever other group, there's different factions of these groups and allegiances can change. So far, nobody has actually claimed responsibility for the attack in Egypt that left over 300 people dead. But it's increasingly looking like it's ISNS. I'm kidding. I don't know how you would pronounce it. It's ISNS, ISNS. The Islamic State in northern Sinai, right? That's a particularly violent, I mean, a lot of these groups are violent, but they are the group that is being looked at most closely for that attack. And what's incredible is that there are other extremist groups that are closer to the sort of Al-Qaeda branch than the ISIS branch, who have started to distance themselves from the mosque attack, but not only distance themselves in the sense of saying we didn't do it, actually saying that they believe that that attack is a sin, partially because it was an attack on Muslims. And this is where you get, it's so crazy how there's some groups that are so extreme, and they are Muslim extremist groups, and they say any Muslims who do not subscribe to our specific version of Islam, they need to be killed just as much as Christians and Jews and atheists need to be killed. You have other groups that say, yeah, Islam is the way and non-Muslims need to be killed, but you shouldn't kill any Muslims regardless of what a sect of Muslims they are. We're talking about extremists. These are all crazy extremists. Yeah. But comparatively, you end up saying, oh, you know, it's more reasonable for the Al-Qaeda-linked extremists to say we shouldn't be killing Muslims, even though they would very quickly kill non-Muslims.
Yeah, I mean, it's very crazy to go into the heads of these people because I guess they're rationalizing that for some groups of Muslims, it's okay.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe just non-Muslims, those are the people that you're allowed to target, right?
It's shades of extremism.
Yeah, and I guess even parts of Al-Qaeda now are against terrorist attacks that target women and children, which is surprising because on 9/11, I'd imagine about half of those people were women, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And many were children as well.
Yeah. You know, we're never really going to, we did that interview. What was the guy who we talked to about the epistemology of terror? Do you remember his name?
Oh, no, I don't.
A few weeks ago now. His name is escaping me.
He was against the word radicalization, too.
He was against or at least he felt that it wasn't always a word that really was that informative or something along those lines. Yeah, I don't know that we'll ever fully understand what makes an individual become radicalized, but it's a different thing to see how the degree and flavor of radicalization among some of these groups can kind of change over time to saying, well, we want to do terror and we are okay with killing innocent people as long as they are not kids or women. And of course, the definition of kids in many of these societies is not the definition we have. I mean, when you're talking about 14-year-olds or even 13-year-olds who are given firearms to defend the town, those aren't considered kids as long as they're male in some of these communities, which is also absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if there's anything that really distinguishes the Sufis so much further on than other Sunnis in that region, right?
I don't know enough to know.
I don't know enough about Islamic studies either, right?
Sunni Shia is something that is much more clearly defined, and we understand the connection to Wahhabism, but I'm less familiar with it, admittedly.
But both people within ISIS and people who are a part of the Sufi sect are both Sunni Muslims.
They're all Sunni Muslims, yeah. Something to learn more about, I think. That's what we can say. Astronomers have announced the arrival of something from another solar system. And when I saw the first headlines, I thought, is this it? Are we about to make first contact? And of course, it's just a rock from another solar system, which is a lot less exciting. It's being called 1I 2017 Oumuamua.
It's a great name.
Yeah, that's the obvious name to me. That's I almost named my pet turtle that, actually, when I was in Argentina.
I almost named my pet rock that.
Yes, that's more clever. I like that. There's probably about 10,000 of these things lurking undetected in the sort of neighborhood of our solar system, but this is a relatively big one. The name comes from the Hawaiian term for messenger or scout because it's sort of like a messenger from another star. And the difference between this and asteroids is that asteroids coalesce during planet formation. And as a result, this is a rock that if we are able to determine exactly where it came from, it might have sort of accreted different space matter, and we might be able to learn as a result of that. Or it could just be a piece of a planet in some faraway place that broke off and now is in our solar system. In any case, very interesting, but not a UFO.
I mean, you'd imagine that this rock would just become part of our solar system, right? Be taken over by the sun's gravitational pull and revolve around it, but that's not what happens because apparently it's traveling too fast to be wrapped into the sun's gravitational pull.
Oh, it'll exit.
And by too fast, I mean it would take a decade for it to leave our solar system. That's crazy.
That is actually pretty quick when it comes to space-time.
Yeah.
Things happening in 10 years in space is actually a
And there
lot.
are thousands of these apparently too.
And what's interesting about this one also is that it is very, very dark. It absorbs 96% of the light that falls on its surface. And it is so dark that it is absorbing almost all of the light that hits it. So this is interesting. I don't know exactly what it's going to do in terms of first contact or getting to Mars, which are sort of like two of the big solar space travel what would we call them, milestones that some casual observers have in their minds. But this is interesting nonetheless, I think.
Yeah, I mean, are we at risk of getting hit by one of these things? There are more of them out there.
I think so, but I don't know that this one is big enough that it wouldn't burn up in our atmosphere.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would hurt.
Hopefully. It would hurt the atmosphere?
It would hurt our head if we got hit by it.
Well, yeah, I would do significant destruction if it got down to the planet's surface at this current size, but we have to assume that it wouldn't. Do you trust, you know how we always hear that astronomers are aware years ahead of time of the trajectories of different spacefaring bodies, and that we would know with significant anticipation whether some place on Earth is going to be hugely damaged by a space body? Are you comfortable with that, or do you think that one could slip by the way it happens in disaster movies?
I think I am pretty comfortable with it because they're so precise in predicting other things, right? Like the time and place of solar eclipses.
Yeah.
And maybe this is an example that is a little bit more far-reaching. But yeah, I do overall trust them. When you say years, though, I mean, is that a 2-3 year notice? Because I don't know how it would feel if we only have that much time to live, right? But if it's like 100, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think we're talking more like a few years. We would know a few years in advance.
See, I don't know if I'd want to find out. I think that's the real question.
Well, if you found out, you could just go to a part of the planet that you wouldn't be killed, right?
Perhaps. Depends on the size, right?
That would be the idea anyway. I generally trust the astronomy community. Maybe that's my bias, my pro-science bias, but I generally trust them.
I like to believe them.
Yeah. We have YouTube demonetization 2.0, maybe. There are all of these videos on YouTube that are basically... They're not child porn in any sense of the word. They tend to be videos of little kids running around, oftentimes like in their underwear, and most of them seem to be completely innocent, like just family videos that someone recorded of their kid and they put it online or whatever. But it's created a big groundswell of anger that ads have been running on some of these videos, and a lot of big companies don't like going on YouTube and seeing an ad for their product and then a little kid running around in their underwear. And now once again, a whole bunch of advertisers are threatening to, and some are pulling money out of YouTube. Now, I'm hoping that this one doesn't affect us, because before the issue was ads on like white supremacist and hateful content, and we talk about white supremacy and we were sort of like wrapped into the type of content. There's nothing on our channel, and there's nothing in news and politics at large really, that might be conflated with kids in their underwear, right?
I mean, I think the problem would be that if there are fewer advertisers to go around, then they would come to us less often, right?
Oh, I see. We would just get a smaller, we would end up with just a generally speaking smaller piece of the pie. Yeah, although if the algorithm doesn't get tightened up for news and politics, because news and politics isn't the place where all these kid videos are showing up, then maybe it wouldn't affect us at all. I don't know. I'm bracing for the worst, but a bunch of people were sending this to me saying, David, did you see? It looks like Adpocalypse 2.0 is coming, and I really hope that's not the case.
I mean, I remember, 10 years ago or so, YouTube unveiled the partnership program,
Yeah.
right? And they only would put ads on specific channels that they had vetted, and
Yep.
they have a general understanding that this person is going to say anything hateful or
Right.
upload deplorable content of any kind. And then did they start expanding it so that just about any channel can get advertisements on it?
They kept lowering the bar in order to monetize your content. And actually, before the partner program was even a thing, or in the early stages, right now, as soon as we upload videos to YouTube, from day one, unless they get flagged, they have ads running on them. It didn't used to be that way. You used to have to upload your videos, and by default, they would not run ads. And you had to say, I want to run ads on this video. And you had to wait for that the video to be reviewed and someone to say, you can run an ad on this. So
wow.
The system has changed a lot.
And that's not very good for a channel like ours because we're covering timely topics,
Yeah.
right? You can't just wait around until it's advantageous to publish it.
If the first 48 hours have no ads running on them, that really is bad for us. Yeah, so the new system is better in that sense. But anyway, that's what's going on.
Maybe the solution, maybe the path forward is for YouTube to get more restrictive on what channels have advertisements placed on it.
See, that's
and
the
it has
thing.
to get a certain amount of views and attention before they'll run the ads.
They have that in a sense. They don't admit it, but we know that there are whitelisted channels. Like there was this big scandal with Jimmy Kimmel's channel where Jimmy Kimmel, everything about, I believe it was Syria, was demonetized all across YouTube.
Really?
Jimmy Kimmel did a video about Syria, ads running for like Jeep or something like that. And it's because he has a different deal and he is not subject to that. So clearly YouTube has the ability to do it, but I don't know that they really have the desire to right now based on economies of scale. Anyway, long story short, hope it doesn't affect us. People have started making calendar orders, so thank you. I want to remind you the calendar for 2018 is now on sale. davidpakman.com/calendar18 is where you can buy it if you are a member, and of course you are. Or maybe you are a patron and you're watching the bonus show on Patreon. In either case, there's a coupon code that you can use to get a discounted calendar because you're already a supporter. That coupon code is membercalendar18. Okay, all one word, membercalendar18. And I hope that we can set a record. I think last year we sold around 200 calendars, and I'd love to do 250 this year.
Hey, man, the show grows every year, right?
I should be able to sell more calendars, absolutely. All right, that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.